Hi there, my name is Tom. I am a maritime English teacher at School Ship Gone in Stavanger, Norway. Today we are going to be continuing with Unit 4A, Meteorology. We're going to be doing exercises 7 to 14 from the book English for Mariners by Tony Grice. This is an open source textbook funded by the Lifelong Learning Program, which is funded by the EU. They are the same people that have made the Marang learning tool. If you haven't downloaded this and put this on your computer, it's free. It's got tons of maritime English, both intermediate and advanced level. So I highly recommend you bring that with you at sea and work on that as well. As well, they have the Marang Plus, and that is the beginning level. That as well, it can be put, it's a website, but you can save it on your computer and use it offline as well. So if you haven't gone through exercises 1 to 6 in the last video, I highly recommend you do that first before you continue on now with exercises 7 and 14. Last time we looked at meteorology and we looked at the vocabulary that you use in understanding, for example, a forecast from the Met Office, which is the British Meteorological Office, which gives weather reports, weather forecasts. The corresponding in America is NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So there's a lot of words you need to pick up to understand what's going on in these weather forecasts. As well, you may have a marine radio facts chart from NOAA, and we looked at the symbols that are on these marine weather forecast charts as well. So I definitely think you should do exercises 1 to 6 and pick up the basic terminology that we went through, as well as the Beaufort scale, and looked at how the Beaufort scale is used in forecasts. We'll go through that again today, but Beaufort scale looks at the wind speeds and how that relates to waves and weather. So do that first before continuing with exercises 714. Well, let's get started here now. And exercise 7 is just going to look at forecasting, and we're going to study these sentences, and what I want you to do is tick off the ones that are forecasts. Our forecasts in Norwegian, værmelding, are things that are going to happen in the future. It's something that's going to happen in the future. So which one of these sentences talks about what's going to happen in the future? Okay, so that's exercise 7. Exercise 8, we have 3 different ways of talking about the future. So I want you to put will, going, or expected in the correct places in the 7 sentences below. Okay? And then exercise 9, put the words in the correct order to make sentences. So you see the example here, pour, the, be, visibility, will. Change it all around and the visibility will be poor. Remember, in Norwegian, visibility means sikt. Poor visibility, dårlig sikt. Okay, you got 4 minutes. Let's do this.
Come on, squeal! Squeal!
Alrighty then. I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Bad old putty cat.
Does everybody know what time it is? That's right. Fit for Tools is proud to present Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
Right, let's look at exercise 7, forecasting. And what we were supposed to do was look at the sentences and tick off the ones that are forecasts that are going to happen in the future. So number 1, it will be foggy all day. It will be, yeah, foggy. And remember, in Norwegian, fog means tokka. So that sounds like a forecast. Yes, that is a forecast. There are icebergs in sea area Viking. When they're saying sea area, the Met Office, when they're giving their weather forecast, the shipping forecast, they're referring to the different shipping areas around Great Britain, so you sort of have to know what they are. But yes, one of them is called Viking, so that's what they're referring to, sea area Viking. There are icebergs. That sounds like that's a fact they're talking about now, so no, that is not a weather forecast. Gale force winds are expected, so that sounds like a forecast in the northeast. And remember, gale in Norwegian, cooling. Okay, so yes, that is a forecast. The tornado is going to get stronger. Sounds like a forecast to me. Is going to get, so yes. The outlook is fair. Well, outlook means the future outlook, so is fair, so that would be a forecast for the future. Yes. Precipitation is increasing. Why don't you say that word with me? Precipitation. One more time. Precipitation. In Norwegian, that means nedbør. That can be anything from rain to snow to sleet, which is freezing rain, drizzle, which is a light rain. Yeah, so any kind of water coming down in different forms, that is precipitation. So it doesn't sound, it is increasing. It sounds like it's talking about right now. So no, that, yeah, it's kind of on the borderline. Okay, I will repeat the forecast. Saying that you're going to repeat the forecast is not a forecast, so no, I'm going to say that is not. And remember, in Norwegian, forecast is værmelding. Okay, let's go on to exercise 8. You want to put will, going, or expected in the correct gaps in these sentences. So there will be, let's see, yes, there will be strong southeasterly winds, which means it's coming from the southeast. Severe gale 9 is, I would say, expected. Yeah, is expected. So it is, I would say, going to, yes, going to rain, and there are, not expected, there are going to be, yes, they're going to be squally showers. Remember last time we talked about a squall is a sudden, brief winds or storm. Just comes up, blows really hard, storms, and then just goes away. Okay, and then 4, visibility expected going will be moderate or poor. And again, visibility is sicht. The cloud base, I would say, will be, yes, below 200 meters. Thick fog, tokka. Thick fog is, I would say, expected. Yes, and here's sea area Fitzroy. Yeah. Temperatures are going to fall overnight. Great, good. Let's go on to exercise 9 now. You want to put the words in the correct order to make sentences. So pressure is to increase, expected. Let's see. Pressure is expected to increase. Now, remember what we said last time. High pressure is generally good weather. Low pressure, it sucks in the air from the surrounding high pressure areas, so that generally low pressure means bad weather. So when you say pressure is expected to increase, weather is expected to get good. Okay, let's look at the next one. Open sea will become rough, right? So we say calm seas and rough seas. Norwegian grov sjø. Okay, and the next one, the weather is going to be fair. We say fair weather. In Norwegian, it's so funny. They say oppholdsvær, which means the weather's just going to stop raining. It's just going to take a break from coming down, the precipitation. So fair weather, I guess you can say oppholdsvær. And then the next one, the wind is expected to be variable. And in Norwegian, variable means skiftende. Skiftende breeze, variable breeze. Okay, and the last one, the tornado will bring heavy rain and strong winds. Great. Let's go on to the next one. So, discuss with a partner what information you can expect in a Met Office gale warning. So if you have a partner, go ahead and discuss, but you generally get a gale warning over the nav text, which is sort of like getting a text mailing written on paper on the bridge. But in one of these warnings, gale warnings, what information do you expect to find or to get from the Met Office? Just discuss that with a partner if you have one, and then just stop the video and discuss it and then turn it back on when you're ready. We're just going to continue. First, before we look at the Met Office in Great Britain, that's the Weather Central for Great Britain, we're going to look at NOAA, again the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in America. It's kind of like the NASA for weather. And this is what you would get typically on a nav text. Nav text is up on the bridge receiver, and like you see here, a little piece of paper comes out, written down, different things. You tuned it in for the area that you're in at that of the world that you're in at that time. And so here is a typical gale warning that comes out from the NOAA. And this is for northern Indiana. So this is on the Great Lakes, and you see we have the time coming up, Eastern time, and Wednesday, October 29th, 2014, and it's saying the area from New Buffalo, Michigan to St. Joseph, Michigan, Michigan City, New Buffalo, and the time again. Gale warning remains in effect from 8 a.m. to Friday. So it's saying when the gale warning is expected, and if you just see down here, what does that mean? A gale warning means winds 34 to 47 knots are imminent, which means coming now, very soon, almost now, or occurring, which is now. Operating a vessel in gale conditions requires experience and properly equipped vessels, so don't be out there unless you're prepared for it. It's highly recommended that mariners without proper experience seek safe harbor prior to the onset of gale conditions. So basically get into harbor as soon as possible. So they're talking about winds in the NOAA. Northwest 15 to 25 knots with gusts to 30 knots by daybreak Friday. Veering north, turning north to 35 knot gales with gusts to 45 knot gales Friday. And then they're talking in the future, north winds diminishing to 20 or 30 with gusts of 35 knots late Friday night. So they're giving an idea of what's going to happen in the next 12 to 24 to 36 hours. Okay, and then waves 5 to 8 feet late Thursday night, building 14 to 20 feet Friday, subsiding 8 to 12 feet late Friday. So now the NOAA, you don't see anything about the Beaufort scale here. They're referring to the size of the waves in feet, and they're talking about the wind in knots here. So now if we turn over to a standard Met Office gale warning, they're going to have the basic same kind of information. The sea area affected, and as I said, there's different sea areas around the UK, so they're going to, and they all have names, and then the date and the time of the warning. Direction of the wind, we had that up here, northwest. So here, wind strength, here they have 15 to 25 knots, but they're going to use the Beaufort scale for the British weather report, and the predicted weather. Just like over here with NOAA, they're talking about what's going to happen in the next 12, 24, 36 hours. Same thing here, predicted weather. So for example, Viking, 08 March 2009 at 21:59 hours, southerly storm force 10. So here comes the Beaufort scale in the British weather reports. Storm force 10, saying Beaufort scale 10, now decrease severe gale force 9. Veering, and again, veering means turning, veering southwesterly and decreasing gale force 8 soon. So they're pretty much giving the same kind of idea, but just a lot less words. When you have the Beaufort scale, you don't need to be writing down all this if you know the Beaufort scale. So here's what it looks like on the internet. If you go to the Met online, you can see here are the different areas, the sea areas around Great Britain, but they also extend from the coast of Europe all the way down to Spain as well. So you have the areas here in red. They are where they have gale warnings. So you can see all the areas. I picked out the Faroes here, so that was red as well. So all the areas where there's red, those are gale warnings. And so you can see that this is for today in the Faroe Islands. Southwesterly gale force 8, veering, turning westerly, and increasing severe gale force 9 later. That was taken today, and you can see here's the gale warning for today, issued at 2140 hours UTC, and UTC refers to Greenwich Mean Time, the one starting time line for all time. So UTC is Greenwich Mean Time, Wednesday 18 February, and that's exactly what's written down here. Okay, so the shipping forecast is a British institution. It comes from BBC4 4 times a day, and not everybody is a mariner or has family, but it's just something that the British people listen to every day. So I just want to give you another taste for it, and to understand what they're saying here, you'd have to know these different sea areas, what they're referring to, and you'd have to know the Beaufort scale as well. But just take a listen to it again. This is from BBC4. This is from Sunday.
Philip Avery. Good morning, and the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 05:05 on Sunday, the 15th of February. There are warnings of gales in Viking, North at Sierra, South at Sierra, Forties, Cromarty, Fisher, Rockall, Malin, Hebrides, Bailey, Fair Isle, Faroes, and South East Iceland. The general synopsis at midnight: low Iceland 958 moving away northwards, low northern France 1005 losing its identity. The area forecast for the next 24 hours: Viking, southerly 7 to severe gale 9, occasionally storm 10 in north, fair, moderate. North at Sierra, south at Sierra, northeast 40s. Southeasterly 7 to severe gale 9, fair, good. Southwest 40s, Cromarty. Southeasterly veering southerly 6 to gale 8. Rain later, moderate. Fourth, Tyne, Dog, Philip Avery. Good morning.
That gives you kind of an idea of what it looks like or what it sounds like when you have a weather forecast from the Met. Okay, let's go on. Exercise 11. Now you're going to study gale warnings. And as you saw on the last page here, you have different sea areas and you have gale warnings for each area. So here we're going to take gale warnings from the shipping forecast for different days, different areas, and you have to decide if the statements that come after the gale warning are true or false, according to what information, that very clear and concise information that you got in the gale warning. You have to decide if the next 4 sentences are true or false. So not just one of them is correct. No, it looks like a multiple choice. No, each sentence you decide, is it true or false. So let's just look at the first one. Gale warning at 0352 hours, Thursday, 05 March. Southeasterly severe gale force 9, decreasing gale force 8 soon. So is this next statement true or false? The warning comes in the morning. Well, 0352 hours. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what the hours, but yeah, we'll see if that's morning, in the middle of the night. I don't know. We'll have to see what the answers are. Okay, but go ahead, read each of these 4 gale warnings, and then decide if each of these 4 sentences that come after are true, according to the gale warning that came before, or not. Here we go. 3 minutes.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
Attention, all personnel. Incoming choppers with wounded. Report to the hospital.
I've seen enough. Let's get to the bottom of this.
That was a little bit of Popeye the Sailor Man there for you. All right, exercise 11. Let's take a look at these gale warnings and see if the statements that come afterwards are true or false. Okay, gale warning at 0352 hours, Thursday, the 5th of March. Southeasterly severe gale force 9, decreasing gale force 8 soon. The warning comes in the morning. Well, I would think the 0600 hours would be morning, but fishermen get up pretty early in the morning, so I would say it's true. Yes, it is true. Okay. The wind is coming from the southeast. Yes, southeasterly. Yes, it is true. Wind is not coming from the southeast, but we just said it is coming from the southeast, so that's false. The winds are getting stronger. Southeasterly severe gale force 9, decreasing gale force 8 soon, so the winds are going to get weaker. So I would say that's false. Okay, number 2. Shipping forecast, 11:30 hours, Tuesday, 15th of November. Southwesterly 6 to gale 8, with seas that will be rough or very rough becoming moderate. Rain with moderate visibility. Moderate means sort of in the middle. Okay, so the storm will get worse before it gets better. Southeasterly 6 to gale 8, so that's getting worse. Seas will be rough or very rough, then becoming moderate. So that sounds true, yes. Okay, so it's going to get worse and then it's going to get better. The sea will go from rough to very rough. Well, it said that seas will be rough, or it doesn't say it's going to go from rough to very rough. It says those seas will be rough or very rough. So no, that's false. The weather will improve soon. It says becoming moderate. So yeah, true. There will be precipitation. Rain is a type of precipitation. So yes, true. Okay, great. Let's get to the next one. 3. Shipping forecast, 11:30 hours, Thursday, 13th of September. Southwesterly 4 at first in east, otherwise northerly 4, increasing 5 or 6 later in southwest. Slight or moderate seas, rain with moderate or poor visibility. So this shipping forecast is given late at night. Shipping forecast 11:30 hours. No, this is right before noon. So no, that's got to be false. The wind will be moderate. Well, they're saying slight or moderate seas. The Beaufort scale refers to wind and how it affects the seas. So yes, that's true. The direction of the wind will change. Southwesterly 4 at first in east, otherwise northerly 4. Well, that's kind of hard to read, but southwesterly 4 at first in east. So they're talking about in the east area of that sea area. Otherwise, other than the east, it's going to be northerly. So it's not going to change. It's just different wind directions in different places. So that's false. There will be high waves. It says slight or moderate seas. So when we're talking about high seas, we're talking about high waves. So no, it's going to be slight waves or moderate waves. Okay, here we go. Shipping forecast, 11:30 hours, Thursday, 5th of March. Wind north 3 or 4, backing northwest 5 or 6, slight or moderate seas. There will be showers and good visibility. Okay, so the wind will change in an anti-clockwise direction. Let's read this. Wind north, the wind going north, 3 or 4, Beaufort scale, backing northwest. So counterclockwise, yeah, northwest is going to be turning around towards 5 or 6. So yeah, the wind will change in an anti-clockwise. Yeah, okay. Wind speed is expected to decrease. Let's see here. 3 or 4, backing 5 or 6, slight or moderate seas. There will be that's a good one. Let's see. 3 or 4, backing, picking up 5 or 6. I would say no. False. Yeah. Okay. So it's actually expected to increase, going from north 3 to 4, then going clockwise 5 or 6. Seas will be moderate or higher. We just said slight or moderate seas. So no, seas will be moderate or higher. No, it's going to be slight or moderate. Nothing higher than that, so false. Heavy rain is expected. There'll be showers. But if you had heavy rain, it would be bad visibility or poor visibility. So no, that's got to be false. It's just showers, not heavy. Okay, false. Good. All right. So now the Beaufort scale. We looked at this last time. I'm just going to go through it one more time with you because the next exercises have to do with the Beaufort scale. So it starts out with force 0, and this is wind speed that's less than a knot, and the sea is like glass. It looks like a mirror. Okay, and then at force 1, 1 to 3 knots with the wind speed, you have just a little bit of ripples. Ripples, when you throw a stone into water, you have ripples coming out in a concentric circles around where you threw the stone. So that's what we call ripples in English. So here you see just ripples. And then there's no white caps or foam crests is what you call them. And then force 2, still, you don't see any kind of white caps. You have small wavelets, no more ripples. And then you go up to force 3, then you get these large wavelets. And then the crests start to break just a little bit. And you start to see a little bit of foam. But any kind of foam has a glassy appearance. Just a few white caps just here and there. And then 4, that's when you start to see frequent, the British say white horses, Americans we say white caps, and this wind's getting up to about 11 to 16, okay? And then Beaufort force 5. Now we've got some moderate waves, and they're taking longer time between each wave, okay? So you've got a lot of these white caps, and you have some spray, sea spray, starting to come up from the sea. And then we're starting to talk about serious seas. In Norwegian, we say liten kuling when you're talking about Beaufort force 6. Here you've got spray everywhere or present, and you've got a pretty good wind speed going, 22 to 27 knots. And then 7, that's almost a gale. They don't give a gale warning at 7. They give it at 8 when it hits 8. So 28 to 33 knots. In Norwegian, you say stiv kuling. Okay, the wave heights are getting up to about 4 to 5.5 meters, and we've got some serious weather. And now, this is a gale. In Norwegian, you say sterk kuling. As the Americans said, 34, 35 to 40 knots. We have the seas getting up pretty high. And then strong gale, Beaufort force 9. We've got some serious waves. The spray is going to be coming up and affecting visibility. Okay, the crests of the wave start to topple and tumble and roll over onto you. Okay, and then a storm. Beaufort force 10 is officially a storm. Very high waves with long overhanging crests and foam in great patches. Okay, and then we go up to 11, violent storm, almost to the top of the scale. And last, the very top of the Beaufort scale is hurricane. Okay, and that's in a class all of its own. So that's the Beaufort scale, 0 to 12. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to study these pictures and the phrases next to the pictures. Okay, now if you don't recognize, we've gone through some of these words, not all of them, but if there's words you need to look up, use Word Finder, use a dictionary, look up these words, and then you're going to complete the description, the Beaufort description of sea state, by putting the right words in the right gaps. Okay, so do it for 1 and 2 down here. We got 3 minutes, go for it.
I can feel my butt getting sore already.
Would you do it for a Scooby snack?
Computers can do that?
I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. So good, so good. I got you. Wow!
Little James Brown for you. All right, let's take a look now. So, as we said, these are the different sea states referred to in the Beaufort scale. We see that the Met Office just uses, rather than NOAA talking about how fast the wind is going, they just use the Beaufort scale. If you know that, you know how fast the wind is. So these are how we describe the different sea states of the Beaufort scale. Let's look at the first one here. When the wind strength is between 1 and 3, the sea is like a mirror. Yes, there may be light ripples, on the surface, but definitely no foam crests. Okay, foam crests, you can say where the crest is breaking, the wave is breaking and the crest has foam. You could say white horses, or Americans we say white caps. So look at number 2 here. A force 11, remember we said that hurricane was force 12. Okay, but force 11 was a violent storm. So force 11 is a violent storm. Waves are exceptionally high, and the sea is covered with long white patches, of foam. You can see it here in the picture. The edges of the wave crests, are blown into froth. Yes, and visibility, sicht, is usually very poor, I would imagine. Yes, good, great, terrific. Let's go on to the next one. Exercise 14, page 72. I have another picture from the Beaufort scale here. Take 2 minutes and answer the questions below, 1 to 6, based on what you see in the picture. Here we go, 2 minutes.
You're crazy! is stolen!
Thank you, thank you. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and answer these questions. So now you're starting to learn the Beaufort scale that you're going to hear referred to on the Met Office forecast. So is this low at a 2, 6, or 12? Well, it's not a 2. It's not like a mirror. You got some serious, not serious waves, but you got some waves there. You see white caps breaking. It's not 12. That would be a hurricane. So it's going to be 4, 6. So here was the picture I showed you before. Okay, not cooling yet. Well, maybe liten cooling in Norwegian. If you remember, 7 was cooling and 8 stack cooling. So just a little bit of a cooling in Norwegian. Okay. So is this a picture of a strong breeze or a severe gale? It would be a strong breeze, right? We're not up to a gale yet. Gale starts at 8, so it's a strong breeze. So in Norwegian, when you say lett breeze, it's different. So you're going to have to learn the Beaufort scale and what it's talking about on its own. Is there spray coming up? Let's see. Spray is present, so yes. Well, you didn't see that, but yes. It's not so easy to see in this picture, though. Are the waves glassy, large, or high? When we say high seas, they're definitely not glassy. We would say large waves. And what is visible on top of some of the waves? Well, I said we can call that foam crests. You can call those white caps. You can call them white horses. There's lots of different words for it. And visibility, is it good? Is it poor? Is it reduced? I wouldn't say it's good. It's probably reduced. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for following along, and stay tuned for the next lesson. We're going to go into 4B and do Sea Speak, talking about meteorology and the language you use. Bye-bye for now.